Test. What's up, guys? It's Rick Ginn. Give me a thumbs up. Everybody can hear me. We got an interesting topic to talk about today because God knows the government wants to get involved in all our lives, and now they want to get in our wholesaling lives. So we are going to go over, we're going to break the whole thing down today. And the bottom line is, how does this affect you? How does it affect wholesaling? And what do we do going forward? So I love doing live streams because I can give it to you in real time. So I've been wholesaling 24 years. This is the best place to do it. So do me a favor, let us know where you're at, what market you're in, make a friend here. If you got a question, put it in the comments because all we do is talk about wholesaling. And this topic needs to be talked about because it's fresh, man. It is hot off the press today. And without further ado, I am going to jump into it. Now, guys, if you have any questions about wholesaling, I just want you to go over to freewholesaling.com. It is a free course, the best wholesaling course you can get. Not only you get your first deal, get you to the first $100,000, and we got to stay current. That's why we like to do these live streams because I don't have to wait. I don't have a teleprompter. I just talk to you right in the camera and tell you how it really is. So give us an introduction and let me share my screen with you. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me show you. It's easier to show you than to lecture to you. So let me share my screen here and we will talk about this. So I don't even like, so this just went through the Senate. So this is at the federal government level, which oversees all the states. And this is why you need to understand it. So, and they passed this 89-10. And I'm going to go through in detail because I've really researched this. We kind of know this has been coming down the hill. Now, remember, it's only passed the Senate. It still has to go to the House. You know how this, I'm not here to get into politics. We just need to know what the outcome and effect is. So you guys have heard this before. So it does have bipartisan support, which is a shocking thing. The one thing they can agree about is the cost of housing is spiraling out of control. But don't sit here and blame the investors. Because you guys created this environment. It's really been created by the banking industry. But if we go through this, it was passed 89-10. And one of the biggest issues here is buying single family homes if they already own 350 or you consider buying 350. You're like, Rick, why are we talking about who owns 350 plus homes? I'm going to break that down for you because it might shock you what the number is. And I'll let you guys participate in it. So what we have to do is right off the bat, you already know hedge funds are just, that deal's pretty much going to be done. And so if it's got bipartisan, it's not a Republican Democrat thing, although there's mixed feelings on it. And I'll go into more detail on that. So as the initial bill, but it's been backed up by the president. So he's insistent that it has to go down. It has bipartisan. So odds are the bill's going to make some changes because everyone's got to take care of their cronies and make sure they have the ability to invest hundreds of billions of dollars in real estate. But how is this going to affect us? So if you read through this article, by the way, all you got to do is you can just Google it and just do housing affordability. And it kind of goes through the whole thing. And I don't want to bore you reading it, but the idea is to address the housing shortage. And the message, I find it kind of funny that politicians have decided that they need to dictate how all this is going to go down. And I just find it funny. So if you look through this, they quote multiple senators. We'll go through this, who supports it. But like even here, a Democrat from Hawaii, hold on, like I said that, which actually you would think would support this bill. But like Brian Schatz goes in here from Hawaii, said the 350 cap home is bananas and would ultimately result in a ban on rental housing. Now, the reason why he's saying that, if you ever go to Hawaii, it's like really hard to, like, everything's very expensive there. And so there is a big amount of investors that buy those properties and rent them out. Now, Hawaii is a great place to do a rental property, but like if you're going to ban it, the investors are going to bail on Hawaii, and I don't know what's gonna happen to the housing market there. And so certain markets, this is going to have a very negative impact. In some markets, it's gonna help. The one thing it's gonna do is, like, this is not gonna have, like, an overnight ripple. So once again, it's in the Senate, it still has to go to the House. So the Senate writes it, the House debates it. I'm not in here to get into, politics on it. Let me get back on my screen here. I want you guys to kinda read it on your own because all it is a framework bill right now. And from what I've read, there's gonna be some serious considerations when they write the bill and get to its finality, which that's how lawmakers are supposed to be, but God forbid. So, here's the interesting thing is a lot of their constituents are big time investors, and there's plenty of them that own more than 350 houses. And they really think that's the problem. And does it help or hurt? I would love to hear your opinion on this because I have an opinion on it. I don't know if it's right. Time's going to tell, but I'd like everyone to kind of pick a side and see what you think is. And the thing is, I've been wholesaling for 24 years, and the advent of when Wall Street decided to get in and started to buy single family homes, they've always bought commercial and they've always bought multifamily apartment complexes. But when they started buying family homes, I found that very interesting because I just don't believe single family homes were ever scalable, but, like, I was proven wrong on that. And in my community I live in, there's an entire neighborhood, probably 1,000 plus homes that's owned by one company. And I've seen the effect on the neighborhood. It is not positive. Like, they just run them to the ground. They deal with a lot of issues. There's lots of lawsuits. And when you make an entire community rental, you change the infrastructure of how are raised there. And you guys gotta have an opinion because some of this is happening in your backyards, and I'm always like, "Hey, listen, it's my job to be a real estate investor, a wholesaler primarily, but, like, to be honest with you, we have to take an ethical ground on, like, what's going on here." So I would love to hear from you guys because let me ask you, if we say you ban them, which it looks probable. And we're gonna go into the details of what they have now, and then we're gonna give you an update on it. Do you really think it's gonna fix the affordability house problem? Because 'Cause I'm gonna tell you, in some communities, like the senator said in Hawaii, he goes, "You're going to destroy our market." And I see markets where they actually provide affordable housing by owning these because, like, let me tell you, in South Florida, for me to buy a house right now, this is why I don't really hold any more property in Florida because I've had my run up, dude. I've made a ton of money. I own property all over the country, but Florida, it's like if I put 500,000 to a house, which is not any stretch of the imagination, I'm only going to get like $3,200 for it. So I can't even make the math work. So I have to be willing, ready for this, almost pay cash for the property and then just take it off. And what happening is rich dudes are buying these properties just to get the tax write off. And they know in the long run, they'll probably make out well. But if you are going to go out and buy a house $500,000 and do a amortization mortgage and put down 3 to 5%, you're going to be like 4 or 5 grand a month, probably around six with everything. And so you understand this could tip the scales in an opposite direction. And I'm just telling you is like, I'm always on the wholesaler side, but like, I believe we have an ethical responsibility in what we do with our properties because these are communities. Like, we're not doing this in commercial markets for the most part. And I just like, we got to talk about this. So, for the longest time, like people have told me, Rick, you got to deal with hedge funds. And I've sold a few properties to hedge funds. Honestly, I was never crazy about it. Now, who are we to turn down when somebody wants to buy one of our properties? In fact, I've turned people down for ethical reasons. So here's the deal is, hate to tell you, you can't buy more than 350 homes. You are correct on that. But there's a psychology in how they've done this, and I want to break it down for you. And I want you to understand it. So we're not just, so here's the thing is, I'm always fair whenever we bring up a topic to let's talk about us, the investors, first and foremost. Then we talk about what the effect is on the real estate market, specifically wholesaling. And then we talk about what is the effect on society when we do stuff like this. Because I'm not here to make this country worse. I already think housing's nuts. I believe most of the housing problems are really created by a lot of politicians that are paid by these lobbyists between banks and lawyers, and there's so many wild excessive fees that I'm telling you, I believe 10% of a house just goes to pay the house, to pay the bankers, to pay the insurance companies, to pay all the counties their recording fees. It's ridiculous. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, if you just took blockchain, and I'm not here tonight, it would 100% solve your title chain problem. But, oh my god, that's too streamlined and it puts too many people out of a job. I don't think it's ever gonna happen. It literally solves the problem. But here we are talking about a ban, and some of you guys, if you went from 2016 to 21, 22, you would have found out that hold on one second here. Um, Hedge funds were like a real deal. I didn't like their contracts. They optioned you. I thought it was ridiculous. So I would love to see in the comments right now who has sold a property to a hedge fund in the last 6 months. Let's just take a poll here. Who's using this? Because I don't even know if it's that big of an issue right now. I'm talking to you guys. I haven't sold to a hedge fund probably in 9, 10 months. And it was like pulling teeth the last time I was doing it. So I want to have an entire discussion because I believe we owe a service to our country to help people a lot. So Max is on here, the king of Dispo. I love. He sold a lot, and he's one of the greatest guys to talk to about Dispo because I'm not the hedge fund manager specialist. I know I'm not. So I like to work with people like Max and other people to Dispo our deals nationally. So that's why I'm asking. I can't give you my opinion because I don't have enough data to back it up. I know from 2016 to 2022, it was actually pretty easy to sell them. I've seen a bit of a shift, but once again, I that's not my area of focus. That's why I like to do JV deals, so I don't have to deal with that. But I'm old, guys. What can I tell you? So I'm reading mass numbers. Uh, but here's the thing is um I'm putting Max coming up here. There's a lot of small hedge funds with less houses than yeah, okay. I ain't got 350, I'll tell you that. So let's talk about it. Let's just run through like the basic framework and then we'll just have an open discussion about it. And then we're going to talk about housing affordability. I would love to get your feedback on, where is this really going? Because I see a lot of stuff happening in our industry. I don't think it's overly positive. I'm just being like, and I've have enough skin in the game. I have enough real estate and I've had a lot of time in this and I've seen what works and what doesn't work. And here's my personal opinion. If the government overextends their hand, there is usually a negative reaction. Because I don't know about you, like anything the government tries to manage, it usually becomes a problem. The idea of this bill, just so you know, is to get rid of greedy corporations that are driving the price up for real estate. Okay. So let's say the ban gets passed, which it probably will. How soon should I expect prices to drop down? Do not hold your breath because our government officials are infamous for finding a way to drive up prices. Or, hey, when you sell a property, if you sell more than X amount, you have to go through this government agency and you have to be registered and you have to pay a fee. And you know how all this crap goes. And that part makes me a little bit nervous. So let me just jump in and let's talk about what's being proposed here. And you guys can put in your comments and I'll follow up with them. So today it's all about affordability in real estate. And I actually give them credit for actually trying to address this, but let's look at the good and the bad on that. So the question is, did Congress just ban cash buyers? Yes and no. Listen, hedge funds, guys, if you're in Dispo and you're not dealing in a hedge fund, you don't have all your doors open. I am not the Dispo king. I'm the farthest thing from it. And I've dealt with the hedge funds. I just know there's a lot more hoops you got to jump through, but sometimes you do what you got to do to sell a property. So here, Our basic scenario right now is we have a housing supply shortage. Housing supply shortage, and here is the stat. Now, I don't know how they come up with this stat. I don't know if it's based on the population and some sort of algorithm to figure it out, but here's what the claim is. This is the overall problem in our country, the United States. We are roughly short 4,000,000 homes nationwide. Yeah, but okay, if we're short 4,000,000 homes, that would typically indicate that it should be a seller's market and there should be very, very little inventory, but that's not the case. And that's the confusing part about this equation is, um, like in Florida, we're buried in inventory. We are buried in inventory, and it's crazy. And, um, I'm reading your comments as we do this, which is a lot, but we'll pick through this. So put your comments in there and, we'll talk about them. We'll highlight the fun ones. So, like, theoretically, if it was such a problem, it should be a seller's market, and we should be getting top dollars for our properties. So you guys tell me that are doing Dispo, like, on a, like, everyday basis. And remember, I'm not into the Dispo department. I have graduated from that, but I hear feedback. And I know what's going on in Florida, but I would love to hear what's going around the rest of the country because technically, based on this information from the government, we should have a smoking seller's market. And you would just say, "Hey, Rick, the problem is the interest rate's too high." I'm here to tell you, I don't even think the interest rates it's at 6.14 right now. Would I like it below 6? Yeah, it would have some impact on it, but, like, it's not like it's 18%. But the problem is the homes aren't 100 or $150,000 anymore, so it creates a major affordability issue. I'm gonna save it to the end because I'm gonna tell you what my opinion is on this, and unfortunately, our country is not prepared to deal with it, but I promise you, you guys are, because we have to deal with this, because I'm getting tired of government overreaching and trying to put in all these checks and balance. Now, guys, I don't panic as a wholesaler because obviously there's very few people that own 350 houses or more. This is going to affect how a dispo is going to go because it seems like this option is going to be taken away from a lot of people. So let's keep diving into it. 4 million. So that creates what we call a housing supply crisis. But we have a lot of markets that have a lot of inventory on glut sitting and prices dropping and days on market's up. So I believe that a lot of this, and let me know what you guys think. In certain markets, there's deficiencies. In other markets, there's oversupply. And it just proves to the point that all real estate is local. It's localized and you got to figure it out. So rule number one, as I give you this information, find out where your market is, because you might be on the upside of this, and this might have a positive effect on your average assignment fee because there's such a housing crisis where you are. There ain't no housing crisis in Florida. We have, in my opinion, we've overbuilt. We have a disaster coming on hand with the condo market. We can talk a little bit about that. I mean, an absolute epic disaster, in my opinion. And the state of Florida is in a terrible spot because they can't figure out what to do without breaking people's bank accounts. And because most people in Florida in condos are usually senior citizens on a fixed budget and they want everything fixed. The problem is it's about $115,000 per condo owner in the state of Florida, and you're going to drive a lot of senior citizens into bankruptcy. But we'll talk about that. So, and we will talk about I listen. Put it in the comments if you have something that's you think screwing up the affordability of housing past interest rates. I want to hear about it because I got a lot of opinions on this, and I just wish some people more would listen to me. There's certain techniques I just stay away from. Like I can tell you one right now. Well, I'm not going to get into it because it's going to open a whole bag of worms. So let's work through this. Number one, guys, put in the comments if you like anything you think on affordability that you think would work. I'm wide open to it because people are going to have to start thinking radically different how we do real estate. Because at the current trajectory we're doing, it nothing may. How can we be short on properties, 4 million, and have a buyer's market? Doesn't make sense. It's absolutely crazy if you think about it. So let's dive into this. Um, I'll give you my opinion, I promise. I want to get as much feedback as I can because remember, my opinion's just my opinion. It doesn't mean it's right. That's the beauty about this country. We can figure it out. So, the whole idea of this I wanna say the bill is called the affordability, housing affordability. They'll come up with something like that. Um, but it's to prevent large institutions from buying large lots of single family homes. And there is a lot of people out there that own a lot of properties. Now, I could give you all the stats and all the things on it. But here's the most important part you have to understand. These are the numbers that they're proposing in the framework. 350 houses or more. I go, "Phew, I'm covered. I'm good." But it's going to affect much more than just regular home investors. There's companies where people do syndications where they buy into large lots of single family homes. I've always said, I'm gonna be honest with you, if you're gonna buy large chunks of real estate, in my opinion, you're better off just going commercial and buying apartment complexes. Why? Because they're all connected. You get synergies, you get scalability, and you get one roof, set of plumbing, and you can have full-time staff that deals with everything. So if it's 500 units in an apartment complex, 500 houses is an absolute nightmare. I don't care what you say. So I go nuts with the stuff we own, and it is easier to own apartment buildings. It's scalable. It's run off the net operating income on it. What's the difference between multifamily and commercial versus single family home is it's one's based on cash flow, the commercial multifamily, and the other one's only based on comps. And comps are severely affected by market influences, interest rates, supply, demand, everything. And so I found it interesting that Wall Street found a crack and they ran with it. I don't blame them. You guys let them do it. You can't fault this is what capitalism is about, and this is the struggle I have. How are we gonna put limits on it? And think about this, 350 homes, how do you think the shell game is gonna be made? I just form another corporation. This one's got 349, this one's got 347, and I just like, here's the reality, whenever the government comes up with an obstacle, clever entrepreneurs figure a way to work around it, and that's I think you're gonna have a lot of that going on. I think the big institutions will stay away from that. So let's think about this. What percentage, um, uh, what percent of investor grade, like corporations, own 350 actually, of investor grade, somebody that owns 350 or more homes, what percentage of the real estate market from 0 to 100 do you guys think that is? Put it in the comments because I got the stat for you, and I was shocked by this. I could not believe it. I'm like, "Why are we passing laws?" Like, I don't understand. Like, let's get to the root of the problem. So what do you think? On 0 to 100, what percentage do large institutions own single family homes in the United States? Less than 1%, that's a good one. And Max got a good point on it. Like a lot of these are smaller hedge funds. Maybe they have a couple hundred properties, 150, some less than 50, 1% 50. Here's the number. So listen, like if it was 50 or it was 25, I actually kind of agree with it. It's not though, guys. You got, I mean, you all are getting close here. Let me put the number up here. It's 3%. It's just 3% of the market. And honestly, I assume 2% would be a default number anyways. So if you look at the average amount of homes in distress in the United States, it's between 1.3 and like 2.6%. So is 3 shocking to me? No, it's actually, in my opinion, it's actually insignificant. I believe the problem it has the impact on these communities that creates these headline stories. And I just 3%. We're going to write entire legislation for 3% of the real estate population. And keep in mind, a lot of these rules put in place where you guys all your expenses, they are pushed by lobbyists that what? That represent the banking industry, the insurance industry. Those are the 2. So banking, insurance, and let's not forget our property taxes, guys. That's driven at a state county level. It's ridiculous because they get carte blanche. So every time the property tax bill goes up, the insurance bills goes up. This is what's really pushing real estate over the limit. Because here's the problem right now is the cost of a house has gone up to so high that even a four or $500,000 home, if you make a modest income, most people aren't going to make the threshold because the less you put down on a property, if you put down like 3 to 5% with any of these programs, a first time home buyer is you're going to have to what happens if you have less than 10% in equity on a property? Put it in the comments, guys. If you have less than 10% equity on a property and you go to get a mortgage, what is the bank going to require you to do? Put it in there. I know what they're gonna make you do. I had to do this when I bought my first home. I was like, "This is absolutely insane." And to try to get this thing off, it's a real challenge. What is the name that you have to get on when you get a mortgage when you have less than 10%? Mm, that's it, PMI. Pri so private mortgage insurance. Has anybody seen the going rate for private mortgage insurance? It's unbelievable. And here's a little catch. The banks will fight you on it because they believe you're a higher risk. So it's an insurance. Do you know who the policy it only benefits one person. It does not benefit you as the homeowner. It benefits only the bank. So you have to pay for a policy to induce the bank to write that loan to begin with. It's already problematic. Every with PMI, they have the highest, incident rate of being foreclosed on. It's a risk assessment. Now the crazy part is these insurance policies, who do you think writes these PMI policies? They are driven by the bank. So once again, look no further than the good old banks for driving up everything. The same people that has charged you $40 a month if you drop $10 below your minimum balance, if you bounce one check, you're gonna get a $65 fee. They just zap you every chance they get. And the crazy thing about PMI, it takes like 10 to 12 years to get it off your mortgage, and to try to get it off is almost an act of God. Honestly, you typically need to refinance to get rid of it. What percentage of it goes what percentage of that payment towards a mortgage payment? It's sizable. So I looked at one the other day. We had a seller, and I was once I see PMI on as someone's loan statement, and I'm trying to buy it wholesale, I typically know it's not going to work out. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I saw one the other day. It was $329. And I wanna say they had a $2,400 mortgage payment. I mean, so it represents usually between like 10 and 12%. So you wanna talk about affordability, it will not protect you. Like, honestly, maybe you shouldn't just be given the loan. Like, that's my take on it. It just says you can't afford it. So there you go. Jonathan's now you're taking me back to old school, man. So, guy I'll tell you this, I could do it now. I don't get they're not gonna sue me. Um, the main way you got paid as, like, a rental agent, because I went to college and I went that glorified, like, finance job, and I wound up being, like, a salesman for a rental car company. You sold that collision damage waiver, and, guys, it to me, I used to sit I remember sitting with the vice president of the bank, I go, "So, I sell someone a policy for 14 bucks a day. Hopefully, they keep it 30 days. And if they wrap the car around the tree, they just drop the keys off and walk away." Honestly, we got killed on that more than anything. So that was an income thing, and my job was to press the employees to sell the crap out of it. Even sell it when people didn't need it. And here's my belief, just like I tell you in wholesaling, if you don't believe in what you sell, like you don't really truly think you're gonna help people out in wholesaling, you will get destroyed. Like, I believe whenever I meet with a seller, I'm their absolute best opportunity to solve the problem. This is why I left enterprise. I hated it. I never believed in what I sold in. So, I'm just telling you, your insurance policy usually covers you and will transfer to that car as long as you're the valid driver. So, I'm there you go. You see, I just gave you rental car wisdom. It's absolutely nuts. They still tried to stick it with so now what they do is they sell it to you for 25 bucks a day, and they only pay the first $1,000 of damage. Do the math on that. Once again, underwritten by an insurance company, that's a derivative from a bank, and they're looking to screw you over. So I never trust insurance companies on anything. And guys, by the way, the title insurance you write, I have been in multiple lawsuits on crazy deals. And who do you think the insurance company, when they underwrite title, who do you think they're trying to protect? They're protecting themselves. They don't care about you. They don't care about the seller. And they will run the real estate agents and the title company under the bus. Why? Because I've been through it. Most of these policies are to the benefit of the institutions, the banks, the insurance companies. And why do you think we have such an affordability issue? But we have to understand that. Okay. Well, here's a reality. You guys realize back in like the 40s, more like the 40s, 50s, and 60s, people only bought homes like they could realistically afford. And I remember seeing some old literature where a lot of times um, it was like 2.5 years your salary, right? And so it was never that big of a deal. It wasn't like you weren't giving up 50% of your income to pay for the mortgage. And to me, it's like if you can't afford the car, go get like the Honda Civic with the 2 doors off of Facebook Marketplace. I know it's painful, but we have to find a way to get people back. I think a lot of people in America just I think they just overbuy their properties, and this is the problem with it. So, um, we can't so let's get into it. Let me get through it, and then we'll have a discussion, on everything else with it. So, um, 350 homes is the cap. Now, here's the interesting thing is, it's funny to watch, politicians because you just need to know where they're coming out. So to find a Democratic senator from the state of Hawaii, to be honest, one of the most liberal states, beautiful, beautiful place, never been there, but they don't support the bill. It's kind of funny because they're representing their constituents. They know it's going to be a problem. So what they've written into the bill, but let's look on. Let's so in the same party, I'm seeing things, and I'm not trying to promote this person. I'm just giving you facts. Our favorite Pocahontas here, sorry, I had to do it. I couldn't help myself. Says homes are for families to live in, not just investment vehicles for private equity. So she obviously supports it. And then you got Democrats in Hawaii says this is absolutely not. So once again, this is telling you people are fighting for their constituents and their area. And this is why you have the divide, but it's bipartisan, guys. It's definitely going to go through. The other part they did on this is they put a so this is one of the frameworks they're discussing is they put a 7-year limitation. So you have the ability to buy, I put it here. You have the ability to let me put it up here for you. Investors can still buy. They can buy homes that need major renovation. They can build new homes for rent, operate build to rent communities, but there's no real parameter set on it. And basically, what they've said is you have to sell the home after 7 years. So if you want to get in and renovate an entire community, get it up to like to rental. But like the question is, okay, if I own say 500 homes, I rehab them all, we brought the community up better, and I rented them out 3 to 4 years. Are you telling so here's where the catch is. This is the crazy part. Say you did it. Say you bought a community, 500 homes, you fixed them all up. You actually put them out for affordable renting in the house, right? The reason why institutions buy this is they want to sell everything as a package. The thought of trying to sell 500 homes one by one, it's literally I don't think you could do it in a reasonable amount of time. Honestly, it could be a 5 to 7-year proposition, and what's the wild child? If you gotta sell them one by one, you are open to market fluctuations. Guys, we have a war going on globally right now, and if you agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. It has an effect. You see what it does to oil, you see how the markets are all waiting to see what happens. Everyone's sitting on the sideline. This stuff could happen just like that, and I'm hoping this stuff gets over quickly because I nobody likes uncertainty, but, like, how am I gonna sell 500 homes if I gotta do them one by one? And here's the catch, guys. This is the crazy part about the bill. When they do that, they're going to create something that where renters may get the first opportunity to buy them. Read into this. Read this again because this is crazy. Now, I'm all about making stuff fair. I was the first one to scream at the courthouse steps when they did foreclosure auctions, when people used to show up. It was all collusion, and then they priced everything up and they squeezed every small investor out. I said, "Why don't you just do it online and make the whole thing anonymous? That makes it fair." I almost died over that comment at the courthouse. I physically watched fights break out. It was inevitable. I go, "They're going to switch to an anonymous bidding system." So this one, renters may get the first opportunity. Okay, how do we establish that? Are they the people renting it? The problem with this, if you guys have ever sold your house to one of your renters, it takes time. They don't have great credit. There's a reason they're typically renting, and it's gonna be problematic in my opinion. And so, do I have to go through a government portal to get my property sold? Because anything I have to do through the government is gonna cost me a ton of time, and we all know as investors, time equals money. It's crazy. Like, I don't know how they're gonna do this fairly, like, so who do I have to register with, and who's am I going to have an affordability housing officer, like, come after me? Like, what is gonna happen with this? And I would love to get your opinions on this, because this is the crazy part about this. So when it goes through the Senate, they do a framework. There's gonna be serious discussions in the House on it, and here's the thing is, this part of politics is where everyone fights for their constituents. What's good for the West Coast might's not good for the East Coast, vice versa. Now in the Midwest, I don't think this is like a real big issue, but like it's really going to affect who we sell these properties to, guys. So think about this. The other question is, what do we do with the current portfolios, the large Wall Street people that own the 350 plus? What's going to happen to them? I assume they're going to have a sell-off period. They'll have like I'm assuming I'm assuming they'll give them a 7-year rule. I don't think you can liquidate properties in 2 to 3 years, because you got to understand this is where the government's going to screw it up. Because say I put $1 billion into buying a portfolio of houses in a certain neighborhood. I've gone through the painstaking task of fixing them up, getting them better, get renters in there, get leasing agents, get repairman, maintenance man, janitors, the whole 9 yards. And then say a war breaks out, kinda like what's going on now, and say interest rates skyrocket because inflation gets out of control. You're not gonna be able to move those homes, or you're gonna have to severely discount them, and this is going to destroy someone's portfolio, and you have to time real estate. So anyone that buys these collections of properties, it is a timing issue, because often billions of dollars on the line, and just because the market's down, they don't wanna take a 25% haircut, and so there's major debate on this 7-year rule. And what happens to the current large funds that already own these properties? Are they gonna dump all these properties on the market? Because I don't know about you, if they dump more properties on the market in Florida, it's going to hurt homeowners bad. And we already have a you saw the last increase in foreclosures, 36%. So, um, so here's the problem, like, and I love this comment by Justin. It's a fair comment. Boohoo, a rich billionaire takes a haircut. Buddy, this is in every one of your parents' hedge funds, not your parents' hedge funds, their 401ks, their money on Wall Street. This is the problem. The haircut's going to go to everybody. These companies, you guys think the ones that own billions and billions of dollars of real estate, it's not their money. They're playing with it. It's your money. So if you are in one of these REITs or anything like that, I don't know, man. It's not looking good. And so I agree. If it was just a billionaire taking a haircut, the problem is they're just representing the average person's money in real estate. It's not their money, guys. These are all publicly traded companies. So they're going to take a haircut. The question is, how is this going to affect us on the market? And so here's kind of the summaries of what I've seen. The idea is there'll be less competition for deals. It'll be so fair. And here's my problem with the word fair. Anything that you think's fair in life, I don't know, dude. You tell me something you think's fair. Very few things in life are fair. It's just the reality. So why do you think real estate's gonna be fair and everything else is unfair? It's like, what is fair? I don't know. People put a house on the market and they sell they want. Go to, rent control. Go to California. By the way, 30% of the population is trying to get the hell out of California. Why? It's over government. Go to New York City. You met the mayor over there. He says they're going to put caps on everyone's rents. Okay. Let me know how that works out because you're just going to create the opposite effect because people who have money like me, we're not going to, not that I would buy New York City anyways. I'm not really a New York guy, but why would I put my money there if you're going to limit what I can make? I would just take it to other states where they're actually going to reward me for it without a state income tax. It's just the truth. So is it going to create less competition or not? I don't know, guy. I would love to get you like this is what they're telling me in the bill. Like it's going to create less competition for deals. Is it going to create less competition for wholesalers? I don't know. I think that's a stretch. So the whole target of this bill, so you understand it as it predicates and gets debated in the House, is to limit large institutional investors. So some of those smaller hedge funds that we deal with, some 50, 100 properties, it's not going to be that big of a deal. And even if they got that big, they would just open up another corporation. Maybe they have a disclosure on taxes or like they've kind of done with cryptocurrency. You have to disclose it now. And there's probably going to be a catch-all to catch everybody. But the whole goal is to limit these large investors. So, and this is what they want. This is going to increase the housing supply nationwide. I would love to get your feedback. Do you think limiting large scale investors is going to fix the housing problem? It's a legitimate question, guys. I need to know the answer because I got an opinion and I'm about to share it with you. I think it's absolutely nuts what's going on here. Now, keep in mind, the president supports it, so he's going to push it and he's going to veto if he doesn't believe it has the limitations. They have the framework on it. The question is, what happens to the large scale ones now? Are those houses going to dump onto the market? And how much time do they have to get those done? And most importantly, going forward, who's going to be the real estate police to make sure everybody follows those rules? I promise you it's coming on your 1120 tax returns for the corporations, not you personally. And I just think anytime the government gets involved, it's usually a nightmare. So do I think it's good if they buy in these neighborhoods? It's the problem is it's mixed. And the problem is if it's only 3% or less, I just don't think it's a big enough obstacle to go ahead and limit people to do it. Because once you start to pass this rule, you're going to open Pandora's box. And when you get a more, how do I say this, progressive administration, they love to pass legislation to have control of everything so they can increase their taxing authority, so they can spend your money, so they can gain more and more power. But I'm getting off base here. So here's where it stands right now, guys. Ready? The Senate's passed at 89 to 10. So it's going to go to the House. We will get a final bill after they debate it and we'll figure it out. We just need to keep a close eye on this thing because I'm worried about what the spinoff is going to be after it. And honestly, I believe banks, insurance companies are driving a lot of this behavior and they always have another play to do on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be going into my X leads. If you guys have the pro plan and the X plan, I go into the Dispo tab and see who owns a crap load of real estate. I would be the first to reach out to them to see if there's going to be any opportunities to unload properties. Now, they got to give these large scale investors time to unload their product because right now is not the best time. And there's going to be an extreme argument, like in the state of Hawaii, New York City, California, like that. Now they're stuck between picking affordability of house and representing their constituents and obviously getting their political play. And that one's going to be really, really interesting. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. I want to open up discussions. You guys know that they passed a bill in Louisiana, 468. I mean, Go watch the video that, Zach did on it. It's a real eye opener, and listen, I'm not gonna sit here and deny that they're trying to put pressure on wholesaling. Most of these laws would never stand up in a federal court. There's just no way. There's no way. Um, is but the problem is if you're going to cap everybody with 3% of the buying base, I just don't know how realistic that is. So if you look at, the Louisiana 468, they're basically trying to spin it to where anything you do wholesaling is illegal, and honestly, if stuff like this sticks, I do worry about the direction that lawmakers are heading in because it's th this overreach, guys, like, if you don't believe me, go over to Australia. I mean, if you wanted to or not, you did not have a choice. You were forced to get the COVID, and if you had a child, they would actually physically extract the child from you and jab them without your consent, and that is like, they have so overstretched that nation. I've never been there, but I'm just telling you, there is extreme so once they start like, "Ah, we can do this, we can do this." So, right now, most wholesaling laws that are in effect, they circle around marketing and disclosure. And what they wanna do is hang their hat on, you're practicing real estate without having a broker's license. It's a legit concern because there's a lot of people that don't understand we're just selling the contract and not the property. So when you start putting up pictures, you put yourself in a bad position and you could be in the crosshairs. They know most wholesalers are just getting started out and they don't have a lot of money, which is what attracts us, which I love. But here's my problem. I can't find a state yet where they're going down chasing wholesalers for these laws because I think they know how vague the laws are, how ridiculous they are, and how stupid it is. Because at some point, if we keep on this current projection, you as a homeowner, when you buy a home, you're going to have to clear it with the government to get it sold. Do you guys understand how screwed up there that is? And so I was told, "Oh, you can't do wholesaling in South Carolina." I went to South Carolina, I closed 5 deals. I didn't have any problems. Oh, and then people are like, "Oh, we're gonna hunt you down and we're gonna, like, tattletale on you." I go, "Really? Is this what wholesaling's come to? Like, we don't support each other anymore?" So, if you look at this bill, they're actually trying to target, like, crazy, crazy stuff. So, if you have any questions, we can talk about what I wanna talk about right now is the affordability of housing in America, and what can we as wholesalers do? Because I do have an opinion on this. Like, I'm the first guy that stood up. I had houses that were I bought some large houses. This is like 2012, 13. I bought big, giant, large houses that were zoned single family houses, and back then, I go, "You know what? This could have a higher and better use." But to change the zoning for a single family house to commercial is almost impossible. And so, I'm here to tell you is I got approached by people that wanted to do rooming houses, and sober houses, and I started to think and so I went under contract with, like, a sober house. And I started like, the neighbors started coming out and talking to me, and so back then, I used to spend a lot more time on the properties, and like, "Who are you selling it to?" And I'm like, when you can't look the neighbor in the eye because their kids are standing right there, I'm like, "Crap, he has no idea what's about to come to this project." So, I just was in shock, and I decided to cancel the sale and sell it for less money because putting a sober house next to a family with small children was just a bad idea, and I couldn't sleep at night. Now, could I legally do it? I could, but I told them, "Unless you got the permits and you could show me proof that you're gonna run it legally and above board, I can't sell you the house." They go, "You can do whatever you want." Like, "You can." I go, Yeah, but I'm not going to." Like, I can't sleep at night doing crap like that. So we're gonna talk about the affordability house because this whole thing where we're gonna mess with real estate, I wanna walk you through the history, and I wanna get your feedback on it. So, I'm seeing real quick, I'm seeing the question, I wanna answer them all. So, can I hold still? Yes, you can. The problem is everyone's trying to freak you out. And, like, honestly, my sellers know exactly what I'm doing when I'm buying their properties. I put it under contract. I did it when I had absolutely no money at all. And then I turned around to find cash buyers that wanted to take over my position in the contract, and they paid me well. And you can do that to this day. You just gotta jump through a few more hoops. Most of the people I'm finding are people who need to sell a house. They just wanna solve the problem now. They're not gonna pick you apart. Who are you gonna sell it to? How much I'm gonna get for it? No, I told you I'm giving you 100 grand, you're getting 100 grand. Period. And if you overpromise and try to buy the house medium and try to sell it high, you're not wholesaling. So I'm telling you, every day I help people buy houses all over the country. I've bought 6 houses this week. It never stops. There's always there's over 140 million plus homes in the United States. On average, 2% of them are in big trouble. So you do the math. That's almost 3 million homes that always need someone to buy it. These are not meant for realtors. They're not meant for the average person. A trained wholesaler that understands how to help people out and is not this greedy salesman can help people out all day long. So, yes, you can wholesale. Do you have to follow more rules? Do you have to read more stuff? Unfortunately, you do. But I'm here to tell you, Justin, just so you know, Illinois has one of the toughest wholesaling laws I've ever seen. It's been in effect, I believe, 5, maybe 6 years now. Not one case has ever been filed. People are flipping properties left and right, and, I just did one in Chicago. Like, it's I the fear is just it's ridiculous. Am I telling you to disregard the law? Absolutely not. Am I telling you there's more pressure on wholesaling? Yeah. It's stupid though, because the problem is you're trying to control what capitalism's really about. Do we have bad wholesalers? Absolutely. But I could go across bad people are bad people. It doesn't matter what you put them in. There's bad creative finance people, there's bad wholesalers, there's horrible fix and flippers, there's bad real estate agents, and there's bad lawyers. So we can't be the ones taking the black eye for everybody. It just drives me nuts. So let's talk about affordability because I really want to have not a debate. I want to have a discussion. Here's what I see going on. Here's what's happened with affordability. Okay. Stuff got out of control after COVID. Let's just be brutally honest. How did we get to where we are now? Number one, let's talk about it. People decided I'm not going to wholesale anymore. I'm just going to find better ways so I don't have to compete with wholesalers. And this entire course thing went on. It's like, space flipping and what were some of the other ones? It was absolutely nuts. And all these are gone now. What happened? Oh, it didn't work. I don't understand. I'm confused. I thought it was amazing. They basically found ways where you could write more contracts, pay more money for the property. So now you can overbid Rick and Zach's purchase and you'll get the deal. But like I've always taught you, he or she that pays the most for real estate ain't a wholesaler. They're usually not very bright. But here's where it all started. And this was right before COVID, and then it just rocketed. Airbnb. Okay. I don't know if you guys know the status of Airbnb right now. It is a failed venture. And somehow you guys got duped into wholesaling with Airbnb. Think about this for a second. And by the way, I own Airbnbs and I do not like them. I do not find them very attractive and they're always problematic. Number one, it is a short-term rental. You are basically running a hotel without a hotel license. Whatever. I'm not, it's a brilliant idea. You do website. The only winner in Airbnb is Airbnb. On average, they take 15 to 19% of your profit before you even collect a dime. They're 100% in control of you. You have to, so if I go and get an Airbnb and I want to like get up on the listing, I have to pay. And they have derived the whole thing around money. And the problem is your entire business is dependent on the renter's review of you. And one bad review can destroy you. And by the way, Airbnb is the judge and jury if there's a problem, and they typically side with the guest. Now, number two, I don't know about you, but like being on standby to put in all the supplies in the house, all the towels, all the pots, all the pans, all the bedding, it's expensive. It is a hidden cost, and it will usually eat you alive on this deal. Plus, you have to pay a short-term sales tax, and then Airbnb throws in all these hidden fees. you're probably paying 20% plus the Airbnb. They're the only ones winning in this. And so what do you guys do in return? You turn around and go, "Well, I can't do traditional rental." So this is the problem, guys. I can't do traditional rental, so I'm gonna do Airbnb. And what does that make you do? You overpay for the property, and then we just keep driving up prices. Does this make sense to you? Right now, most Airbnbs don't even cash flow and they don't make any money. Why? Because I got everybody in the state of Florida trying to sell me their Airbnb. Gee, it didn't work out. I was told I could pay more in a wholesaler. I go, how did that work out? It didn't work out. It's a disaster. There's so much oversupply on Airbnb, it's putting pressure on the market. And this is a hangover from COVID, guys, that's coming back to haunt us. Does everybody understand that? That's a good point on Section 8. I'm going to bring that up. So, Airbnb did not fix affordability. In my opinion, it made it worse because you took properties that could have been for regular affordable housing and then you had them bid up. And now Airbnb has put a 20% premium on it. And then you got to get, all these. Oh my God, the amount of courses that came with Airbnb and everyone's like making $1 million. I mean, I had millions dumped into Airbnb properties. I was broke with the income from Airbnb. And keep in mind, a lot of the properties I had were free and clear. So I just don't think it really made sense. And so um, I'll go back and rehash the bill, but because it's not done yet. So uh, Airbnb was the start of it. So what this is people taught you, whatever your gurus, trainers, coaches, Airbnb is the play. Why? Because if you got $3,000 for a monthly rent, Airbnb you can get like 5,000. Oh, but wait a minute, there's cost involved. Oh, there's vacancies. Oh, what happens if a war breaks out? What happens if there's a natural disaster in my area? Oh, nobody's going to account for that. Number two, nobody's ever addressed this Airbnb is what happens if there's an accident on the property? Who's responsible? Everyone got, oh, Airbnb's got you covered. Good luck with that, buddy. Who do you think they're going to represent their own interest and mitigate their loss? So if you go to court, you'd actually have to get your own lawyer and defend yourself. Number two, those of you that took your homes and converted them into Airbnbs, you have no coverage. It is a commercial venture and you have to go get a separate policy for it. 95% of people that own Airbnbs don't even understand that. And so you're actually putting yourself at greater risk and it's a bigger problem. And a lot of you guys are paying for insurance policies and you have zero protection because you never disclosed this. I promise you, if you disclose you're doing short-term rentals to your insurance company, they'll drop your policy faster than you can say it. I promise you. But hey, it gets better. Hey, Rick, I got a better idea. Prices are going up. Airbnb's dead. I can't sell a course on that anymore. So what am I going to do? Here's the latest craze, guys. I call it professional rooming houses pad split. Now, it's a it's a great theory and idea, but guys, put in the comments, what do you think pad split helps out affordability of houses or does the opposite? Because you got to pick a side on this. No matter which side you pick, it's going to have a swing effect here. So I would love to. Do you guys think pad split is a solution to bring affordability down to housing in the United States? I would love feedback on this because this one's smoking hot right now. Everybody's talking about it. Oh my God. I'm going to go from Airbnb to the pad split. It's like, let's find the latest, greatest thing that happens. So here's what happens with pad split. Once again, my question is, does pad split help out affordability for housing in the United States in the long run? So you guys know I'm a marathon guy, right? I'm a marathon person. This is what I do. And if I know that, I want to do things the right way for the long run. So a lot of times I say things on here that aren't popular. Why? Because I'm not interested in being liked. I'm just interested in being respected. And if you can tell the truth, you can sleep a lot better at night. You're going to get a lot of flack for it, but it's the truth. Here's how pad split works. Airbnb doesn't work. So I'm going to go to pad split and I'm going to rent out each room differently. Hold on. Wait a minute. Just repeat that word exactly how you said it. I'm going to take a single family house that's got 5 bedrooms and I'm gonna reach rent out each bedroom for 1,500 bucks. 1, 2, what is that? I don't know. 1,500 times 5, I'm doing math here, and this sounds so cool on paper. That's $7,500 income. So 3 grand didn't work on a regular traditional rental. 5 grand now doesn't work in an Airbnb. So now we're gonna go to pad split and we're gonna put more pressure on the cash flow of the property, and I'm gonna pay more because I can do this. I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of time in my city. They are hunting pad splits down like it's their job. They are, in my opinion, so most cities and counties have rules. You can't have multiple families that are not related living under one roof. It does nothing but cause rift. It causes problems. You have drug use, you have alcohol abuse. What about the neighbors? It absolutely destroys the neighbors. No, 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 but this is how we deal with affordable housing. Okay, that's fine. Somebody rents it out for 1,200, they don't have to pay 3,000, 3,500. It's temporary, guys, because what let me ask you, the wholesaler or the creative finance person, whoever buys that pad split, what is their goal at the end of it? It's not to give the property away, it's sell it for the highest property. And you know what they presented to me? "Hey, this one makes 7,500 a month, and then 7,500, let's see, times 12, we never have a vacancy, and then if I divide that by my cap rate of, 2%, the house is worth 1,200,000. Oh, this is how we're going to fix affordability. Guys, it's just a short-term fix, and there's always a course tied to it, and pad split is for the right if the house is zoned commercial, you get a commercial policy, and you have an occupancy certificate that allows for it. So remember, I own commercial property. The cost for me on a commercial property to keep it up is astounding. I have to have exit signs. I have to be inspected twice a year. I have the fire inspector that comes out. I have to have upgraded suppressions. I have to have sprinklers in there. I have to have multiple exits. I have to have lighting. How are you going to do that in a pad split? You're not going to do it. I promise you, if there's a fire or something breaks out, you're going down with it. I don't care what you say. If you don't believe me, go talk to your local city or county or the building department and tell them, I want to do a pad split. This is what I want to do. 90% of you guys will be rejected right there. It is a great in theory. But if you actually look at the laws on the books, most counties prevent this because they already know it's a problem. And so why are we going to run professional rooming houses? Why? Because it's got increased cash flow. Like there is a cause and effect. In my opinion, Airbnbs and pad splits only drive up the affordability of housing. It doesn't make it better. Pad split is a temporary bubble fix, and it's so the investor can get a higher cash flow. So at the end, they can rent the rooms at a lower rate, but they're going to sell that property based on the current cash flow projections, and they're going to want millions. And you guys are going to have to compete with these things the entire time. I lost my computer. No big deal. So if we understand that, we have to move forward. And I think affordability. So I would really like to see your comments is what could we possibly do to actually create change for affordability? And I'm telling you, unless you involve insurance companies and banks, I just don't know how you do it because they keep driving the cost up. They're never When's the last time you got a reduction in your property tax or your property insurance? It's crazy. Um, what are my thoughts on ADUs? Um, they're not like that big of a deal in Florida because there's just not a lot of land and real estate on it. They're very big in most other states. I don't have a lot of experience. I did one, and they hit me with all sorts of impact fees. I think I paid 30 grand before I even dropped the first brick. So they're usually cost prohibitive. It's usually a personal choice. If you can build it in the original plans, they work out a whole lot better. So, um, it's nuts what goes on, in Bearish. Um, you know what? I don't have enough information on ADU, and so that's a topic we need to explore. But the thing is, if we're go here's my whole point on this. Um, The idea is my challenge with pad splits and Airbnbs is they are great in theory on paper, but in the long run, they're not thought out very well because it only benefits certain parties, and at some point, we gotta find something that helps everybody out in the United States. Here's the problem is, if I wanna go out I looked at doing an affordability on a project I bought 5 years ago, and we mapped it all out. I gotta be honest with you, the cost got so out of control, mainly because of the commercial, liability I had to do with it. Um, just so you know, I have a building where, like, the fire suppression system, it cost me an easy 10 grand a year just to maintain. I have to have a professional company monitor it. I'm forced to use the repair work. You know how much the repairs is? $225 an hour, and we're constantly repairing stuff. I'm getting to replace the pipes in the building. It's $82,000. These costs have to be passed on to somebody. And I'm all about safety and stuff, but, like, if I'm being eaten alive as a commercial owner, why do I have to compete with Airbnbs and pad splits when they don't have to do any of it? And eventually, it's going to be so problematic that they're gonna outlaw it one way or the other. Hopefully, they make it a crime because the problem is it only benefits people temporarily. It benefits the renter, it benefits the investor, and then they turn around and eventually they sell it off and they go, "Look, it makes 7,500 a month. Here's the cash flow. Here's how it works." Absolutely not. No way. So, if you guys just hopped on a live stream, just let you know, there's a new Affordability Act that's passed the Senate 89 to 10, and it's basically going to restrict large scale investors, institutions who own 350 more homes. They're just not gonna let them do it. How they vet them out? We've yet to wait to see that. What we're asking is, how is this going to affect your ability, um, to dispo properties? So I got guys like Max chiming in, which is much more in touch with the dispo on it, who does JVs all over the country. And he's basically saying a lot of the hedge funds are way under that 350 cap hold. He doesn't see like an overwhelming effect. And the idea is to discuss it because I promise you the scare videos are coming out. And I apologize for the trade bait on there. I just do whatever I can to get your attention. My whole drive is about wholesaling real estate. And I'm me and Zach are the only ones sitting here like, don't change what you're doing, just do more research and understand anybody can do wholesaling. But if you're gonna let somebody scare you from wholesaling, I'm gonna be honest, you probably weren't cut out for it in the beginning. And that's the tough love conversation we all have to have. So let's go through, let's answer some questions here. Somebody asked, "Hey, what about Section 8?" Now, Section 8 has all the best intentions in the world. And I don't know if you guys have ever dealt with Section 8. A lot of people, you can make a lot of money with Section 8. It is not sexy. It's not a get rich quick scheme. So Section 8 basically is where they get government assistance for housing. Usually, the renter pays a small portion, usually 20% or less of the bill, and these houses have to be inspected, and there's all sorts of things that happen. Now, I've owned Section 8. I'm gonna be honest with you. As an investor, I'm not a big fan of Section 8. It is a personal opinion. I do have friends that own large sections of Section 8s, and I believe the Section 8 houses, they're not explicitly explained in this affordability bill. I believe they're going to get them an exception for that because they can't afford to lose them. But like Section 8, I'll give you an example. In the county I live in, it's actually pretty good. So I've owned properties, I bought it with them. I've spent time at the Section 8 office. I know exactly how to get a house qualified and understand it. My only problem with Section 8, just is a lot of drama. There's always, how are we gonna get the rent paid? And often, sometimes I've owned as many as 10 or 12. That's the most I've ever owned Section 8. And so if you had a $1,500 rent and the, owner's responsible for like 100, $125 is when they get in arrears on it, which it happens quite a bit, it's not easy. You just can't kick them out overnight. There's rules you have to abide by, and you have to constantly show financials and get the house inspected. So when people get behind on that small 10 or 20%, that is your profit, and it's a real problem when they don't pay it. Number 2, the houses get run down a lot more. I'm not even gonna hide it from you. And it's harder on the eviction and the turnover and get it. Now, if I go to my county to the north of me, St. Lucie County, They don't have funds for Section 8. And so it's county by county how they do the budget. It's allotted by the state, and it's a little bit confusing. So one county is great, the other county sucks. And that's the problem you have with Section 8. Um, if you could afford to get into it and you want to do that, it is nice because like 85% of your income is guaranteed by the government. And that's the attractive part about it. But these houses, when you go to sell them, you need to sell to another investor that's going to do Section 8. That's how it goes. So there's a cap on what you're going to get to it. So that's the part I don't really like about it. Because to get your best bang for a single family home is to sell it on the open market on MLS. That's how you're going to get top dollar. So if I have to sell it Section 8 with a tenant and it's in rough condition, you're always going to take a discount for it. So if you're okay with the cash flow and by the way, you can buy portfolios 20, 50, 100 up to 500 units because they're always on the market for sale because people get tired of them. And that's the challenge that we have to do when we do that. So um okay. What else we got? Someone says, "Hey, can you explain the bill?" It's just limiting large institutions, 350 homes or more, to buy these properties. They believe they're driving up the market, and they're going to have a 7-year rule. If you buy a fixer-upper, like an entire neighborhood, they have 7 years to liquidate the portfolio. The idea of this is it will create more housing available. My personal opinion, I don't think it's gonna have an effect at all. I'm sorry. Like, it just you're gonna try to manage 3% and govern 100% of all transactions. The government's gonna take their fees. It's just gonna drive up more of our tax revenue, and don't be surprised if you're paying a fee so the government can monitor this. I don't like any type of government intervention in a capital society because I've yet to see how they get it. Guys, just take Social Security. 100% an epic disaster. Do you know in Social Security that you pay in your entire, like, working career? You say I worked my entire life. Say I spent 30 years paying in my, uh, my FICA tax, my Social Security, Medicare, all that stuff. Say you passed away. What happens to the money? I'm gonna tell you what happens. It's a big Ponzi scheme because your family gets a death benefit and they're done. It's like a, "Hey, good, I'm done with you." And the hundreds of thousands or even up like 3 or 400,000 you paid into it, it's all gone. The government just keeps it. It's crazy. And then they constantly tell you, "We don't have enough money to pay for Social Security." So then our tax bills go up to cover the deficit. At some point, this Ponzi scheme has to end. There's not enough money to pay for it because the way it's set up is ridiculous. I do like the new plan where they start with children and they designate the money for the child, and then the parents can match it, employers can match it, crazy stuff, and nobody can touch that money, not even the government, as long as they follow the rules. The problem with Social Security is the minute you pay it, it's the government's money, and then once you give politicians control of your money, you're never getting it back. I have paid into Social Security since I've been 14 years old. I've seen the calculations. I'm never going to get a dime of it back, and I already know it. It's just a tax that my politicians have already spent. They've spent it 25 years ago, and we're still paying the tax bill on it. This is why I'm against anything what the government does, other than like an extreme safety issue, which I think, um, it's just nuts, like crazy. Uh, okay, I will check that out. Does what's this question? Does this also apply if you're wholesaling lands? So this is the fun part about it. We're gonna see more definitive stuff when it goes, to the House, and we're gonna have to see what the final bill says. So, the reason why I'm doing this live stream is to keep you up to date and see what the clear definitions of what they do. Now, the government has this ability to write, like, vague laws, and if it's written vaguely, I'm not gonna worry about it. So, keep in mind, I'm not buying 350 pie but 350 pieces of parcel land could be done in one deal. So, are they gonna write the 7-year rule on that? I have no idea. We'll have to see what's going on with this. So, um, we're gonna have to update you on it. So, they didn't clearly specify. There's some opinions, and I haven't been there on the debate, but we have to find out, um, what's gonna happen on that. Now, I'm just gonna get the cat out of the bag here. A lot of you guys are asking about the update on X Lead, and, here's the truth of it. It's coming, but good things do take time. And so we have the agreements, everything's said and done. We're just working on some logistics. So whenever you port and make a change in your software system, it has to basically be underwritten and done correctly, and we're still in the final phases of it. So it's complicated. I promise you work on it. We're, like, night and day, 24/7. I have programmers working. We're just they've gotta finish it. So it's coming. I promise you, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's going to be addressed. We've already done the agreement. As I said, it is a logistics and a coding and a programming thing, and whenever I make a massive changes for 5,000 plus people, it takes time to do. So, I promise you, um, Tamir, if you have a subject to deal, just make sure it's good. Just make sure it's good. Sticky notes, that's awesome. So, if you want, you can reach out to us. Um, if you're part of our community on, the pump side, we'll definitely take a look at it. Reach out to Evan and Corey, but, you know what? Reach out to, Corey or, Corey Whitley, or, you can do, Evan Hamilton, and, he's in my school group. He oversees all the, I have a separate person for subject to. We have all different types of deals we do, but, I would love to take a look at it. But remember, guys, I only do subject to deals that actually work, and I'll be brutally honest with you if I don't think it works, 'cause I don't like taking over people's houses if I can't make it work or they couldn't make it work. Like, I don't need a notch in my belt for another creative financing deal. I have plenty of them. So, um, awesome. This is the end of house flipping for sure. Yeah. I've heard that since 2003. Millions and millions and millions of dollars, and thank God I do not follow the sheep. So I'm hoping you're being sarcastic with this comment because that ain't true. So, here's a good one is, uh, we house ex-veterans and ex-rehab people. I think it's all I so, they already have great programs for veterans, but I think anyone who gets discharged from the military should be in the pool of getting a preferential mortgage and preferential shot at some of this inventory. I would be wide open, and, I think that's actually freaking brilliant. I'm gonna tell you, like, one of my only regrets in life, I don't have regrets, everything happens for a reason. I wish I served in the military. In fact, I should David Goggins it and find a way to get into the military now. I think it'd be fun. We can wholesale while we do training, and, I'm all about, like, fighting and tackling our enemy, but it's I just wish I did it. I would have really thrived in the military. I wouldn't have stayed in it, um, but I love the military. I think it's, amazing. Um, I laid my father to rest yesterday, his ex-grandfather, and he had a full ceremony. They had taps. I mean, it was really special. It was really, really, really special, and, I think anybody that can sacrifice for their country and serve, you get an extra actually, I'm gonna find a way and my programs, if they'll go through freewholesaling.com to give anybody has that preferential treatment. So, I just think it's amazing. If you're willing it's such a selfless act. It really is. I think it's just awesome. I can't stop listen, without our military, I would not be here talking to you, and I don't take lightly anything. And the 6 recent soldiers we have, I salute them, their families. It is the ultimate sacrifice so you and me can do what we do. I love this business, guys. I think it's amazing, but I do think we have to stand up and fight for what's right. And I'm getting concerned with this country with these laws being passed to, like, we gotta make everything fair. It's not fair. Just how do we have Congress people less 4 years in that only had $1,000 of total income that are worth 30 and $40 million, and they're only paid 200 grand a year. I can't do the math for it. I already know you got to be stealing money from someone. We just got to figure out who you're stealing it from. So, anybody who's willing to give up something for this country, you have a special place in my heart because that's the crap I'm talking about, man. Because if you can give that and you're willing to die for this country, I can you could easily handle wholesaling. That's what my saying is, because a lot of people don't really know what challenges are in life because you haven't been hit with them. So if you don't have challenges, step up to the plate in wholesaling because it's not going to be easy and just deal with it. If you think it's hard, it's just your perspective. You're using your old personality, your ego to try to do something new to change yourself. But if you don't change who you become, you can't be successful. And that's the bottom line. And I want you to understand that. So, guys, yes, we're going to open up pump shortly. We need to get the X leads update done here. It's coming. I'm not going to make any more promises because I'm pushing people hard, and people are getting mad at me. And I don't want to release something unless it's perfect. So you guys asked for it. We're going to fix it for you. That's coming shortly. We'll update it for you guys. And if you want to visit me, hop in the school group. Let's have a conversation. If you have a deal, reach out to Evan and Corey. They'll help me filter it. They'll get it to my team, and we'll figure out what works. So, guys, um, I appreciate you guys. I really do. Those of you who served their country, God bless you. You deserve everything that's coming to you. If you can make that kind of sacrifice for our country, I can't imagine what you can do with your family with real estate, specifically wholesaling. So, guys, I just want you to understand the affordability of housing. We all know it's a problem, but until we attack the real monsters, like we have got to stop having these third party websites find another way to manipulate cash flow to make affordable rents only to drive up the end price of the house. And that's my point of I'm open to anything that makes it affordable. But like I've looked to build affordable housing and don't give me this tiny house nation. That's not affordable housing. That's an extreme band-aid. And we can make houses out of what do you call those storage containers? I'm seeing those pop up. But I don't know until you tackle the big boys that are greasing everybody, all the politicians in Capitol Hill, I don't ever see this problem fixing. I'm just being honest with you. That's why I do real estate. It just keeps going up. And as long as we keep driving the value of the dollar down and we just keep driving up and we keep creating government interference, honestly, it is a protection policy for you as the wholesaler. So guys, don't quit wholesaling. Read your laws. I'm not telling you to break them. These things are so vague and so ridiculous that most of them are unenforceable. So like this new layer that's going to come out, we'll get the final version of it. I personally don't think it's going to have that big of effect on anything. And if anything, it's going to free up more inventory, which will put more pressure on pricing on houses. But I don't know. Anything the government does, dude, I just don't believe in like to a point. So I'm talking about when it comes to the free capital market, because if the market does not correct itself, eventually it will blow up. Go back to 2007, 8. That was just the writing was on the wall. You gave everybody a mortgage and you gave subprime and people couldn't afford the houses. It was temporary. Who made money? Realtors destroyed it, not their fault. Mortgage brokers made an absolute killing, millions and millions of dollars with no liability on it. And then you and me are stuck to clean up the aftermath. But I make a lot of money, the mess before, the mess after. Guys, get into wholesaling. There is no timing. Just get in there, do it. If you want to learn how to do it, go over to freewholesaling.com. If you got value from the day, do me a favor. Make sure you press that little button that hits subscribe. The best compliment you can give to me. Me and Zach pretty much bring everything to you for free. We try to give you the truth. We try to talk about both sides of the equation. And I'm talking about stuff that could hurt me as a wholesaler. But we have to have these honest discussions to make progress and understand it. We'll update you as it keeps going, guys. Have a good one. I'll see you soon.